last night when the futures markets opened, we had a huge gap to the downside. And we come over and look, the only indice out there to fill the gap was the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So what was the market having a hissy fit about? Is there more selling to come, or are these gaps about to get filled? Now, when we come over and look at the fear and greed index, right now we're sitting at 44. We are teetering between fear and neutral. So we're going to see if the economic news coming out tomorrow will be enough to sway the markets in either direction. Tomorrow, the only economic news we have to really contend with is going to be the JOLTS job openings coming out at 10 a.m. along with factory orders. And we do have a few FOMC members speaking throughout the day as well. The big news is going to be, do we hear anything further out there about tariffs? Now, today at 3 p.m., Trump had a call with Trudeau, and notice once this news came out, we see the US dollar falling off a cliff. We see the S&P 500 rocketing up, and what it says is Trump call with Trudeau went very well. When asked if tariffs are going into effect tonight, he said, watch. So again, we had to be on the lookout. Are these gaps from last night potentially going to come back and get filled as early as tonight? Now, if you guys are out there trading with us this morning at 10:22, Mexican president, a good call with US Trump led to some accords. And basically what it went on to say is Trump going to pause the tariffs for Mexico for 1 month. And look at this chart real quick. When that news came out this morning, the US dollar came crashing down. The S&P 500 went rocketing up. And even more importantly than that, we can see we had a critical level down there. Now, right before that news came out, we were talking about this today on the live stream. We were watching that 21,100 price point. There was over 100 contracts sitting at that level. We can see essentially the NASDAQ missed it by a mere 15 points. And then it was a straight rocket ship on the way up. And if you guys don't want to miss the next time I go live, make sure you're subscribed and you have the bell notifications turned on for all. Also, if you guys want to take a look at Bookmap, there's a link in the description box down below. Now, when we come over and look at how the indices fared across the board, the Dow was down 122 points. The NASDAQ was down 235 points. S&P 500 down 45 points, with the Russell 2000 being down 2.65. When we look at advancing issues versus declining, we had 23.2% of issues declining on the day. Then when we come over and look at the sectors, we see consumer defensives, followed by utilities, and energy were the only indices in the green. Every other indice was in the red. And look at technology absolutely getting destroyed out there today. Now, even though we have trade wars going on, tariff this, tariff that, let's not forget, we have a lot of earnings coming out this week. For instance, today after the bell, Palantir had earnings coming out. Tomorrow before the bell, we get PayPal. After the bell, we get Alphabet, we get AMD, we get Snap, we get Chipotle, we get Uber, Disney, just to name a few out here this week. So we have a lot of earnings to come out that could potentially move the markets. And we come over here real quick and we look at the big expected movers out there. Today after the bell, Palantir expected to move plus or minus 13%. That is absolutely a ginormous move out here in the markets. And if we come over and look at a chart of Palantir real quick, after the earnings came up, after the earnings were out, after the bell, Palantir is up 18%. Absolute game changer, trying to help lift indices back up, potentially filling that gap as early as tomorrow. Early on, we've seen Bitcoin getting crushed. We come out here and look at the daily chart. Look at that large wick we have on the candle. Bitcoin making all the way down to 91,000. Then closing out up here over $101,000 on the day. We also want to come over and take a look at the volatility index. Notice the VIX was actually up 13.34% on the day. So what does that mean? That means there's a very high probability that tomorrow or the following day is likely going to be an update in the market. And will it be up enough to potentially fill the gap? Remember last week, last Sunday, Monday, we had nasty gaps in the market. And on Friday, all of those gaps came back and got filled. Now, as we come over and look at the SPY real quick, you see that gap we had lower? We broke the swing point right over here. And keep in mind, if this is going to be a double top pattern, we've already broken the swing point. The target down there is about 578.38. One, that's enough to hit this high volume node over here on the composite profile. And two, it would be enough to fill this lower gap from that large move we've had up in the market. On the 4-hour chart, MACD indicator is crossed to the downside. We're not quite yet at the zero line. Then we look at the 30-minute chart. Notice at the open today, MACD indicator is screaming below the zero line, but now it's trying to flatten out here just a bit. SPY not quite able to fill the gap, and after hours up here just a bit, getting very close to potentially filling the gap. So could tomorrow be the day where we actually see the gaps being filled in the markets? One thing I will want to focus on is the fact that we had a P as in Paul shaped profile. So if we stay above value area high, I want to keep looking for higher prices. However, with a P-shaped profile, if we start breaking back below value area high, which will be about 599.72, then I'd want to target the point of control at 598 and a quarter, value area low right down here at about 596. And then anything below that, really look for the lower third of the range to come back and get tested at about 592.91. Also, let's not forget there is a slight minus development area down here on the profile. I want to make you guys aware I am now trading with 4 prop firms. I recently got a TradeFi account. Right now, you can get 30% off straight funded accounts. And you can see right here, I've had 4 winning days. I'm also trading with Apex. Right now, Apex having 80% off. Use the link in the description box down below. Use promo code Mike. Also trading with Take Profit Trader this week, passing 250K accounts. Right now, all accounts 50% off. Use promo code Epitome, link in the description box down below. And then the fourth one is going to be My Funded Futures. And again, use the links in the description box down below to make sure you always get the best deal if you like to trade with prop firm. And as we come over real quick and look at the futures markets, what do we see on the 4-hour chart? You can see very, very close right up here to fill in the gap. We are not that far away. So again, we had a big gap down and then we've been trying to rally right back up. Notice we were able to get back above value area low on the weekly at 6,034. So the next target is really going to be the gap fill, point of control, value area high, and then this high volume node up here at about 6130. However, if we start to pull back from this area, that could also set up a nasty ABC pattern to the downside. Keep in mind, we've already retraced 50% of that move down, and right around the 61.8 level, does make logical sense that we come up towards that level, not only hitting the Fibonacci level, but also being able to fill the gap. Now, if we do turn from there and we start breaking back below value area low, then I'm going to be looking for this as a potential ABC pattern down, which would take us kind of into this minus development area right down below us. Over here on the daily profiles, notice we have a huge minus development area over here. So if we start to see weakness in the market tomorrow, this is going to be a logical area to focus on. Also, off the daily profile, also from Friday, we have an untested point of control at about 6,066 and a quarter. And notice we are slightly closing above value area high at 6,049. Point of control coming in at 6,025.00 with value area low being down here about 5,973.50. Now, yes, we talked about this minus development area during the live stream today. And here's how I want to handle this for tonight and tomorrow. If we start coming back below value area high, I want to target the point of control. Then I want to target the minus development area and then value area low. But note, if we can stay above value area high, the point of control then becomes a target location for me. And then let's not forget, we have some structure breakdown points over here from last Friday, which we still have not been able to come back and essentially test at this moment. Now, when we come over and look at the dollar index today, we saw the dollar index spiking up and look at that nasty inverted hammer that we have. That huge pin bar type of candle, not what you want to see if you're a bull in this market. Essentially, the bulls were unable to hold on. You can see early on last night, gapping up, running up, only to roll right back over and essentially start to come back down. Now, if indeed you're a bear in this market, you want to see the dollar continue to gain strength. You also want to see yields continue to rocket up. And today, we actually saw yields out there for the 10-year spiking lower, closing up with a hammer as we have this consolidation. So that's going to be something we most certainly need to keep an eye on, along with the economic data, along with the earnings coming out as well. Now, when we come over back over and look at the QQQs real quick, notice we're unable to break that swing point. And after hours, we're almost right back up to fill in the gap that we had down this morning. Now, when we look at the MACD indicator, really nothing to see, kind of just flatlined out there. On the 4-hour chart, we do have a bearish cross of the 2 lines. Then out here on the 30-minute chart, notice right there, we're very close within filling the gap. We need to make it up here to a price point somewhere in the ballpark of about 522.30. Now, with the MACD indicator being below the 0 line, we don't have a huge edge out here, just kind of flatlined out here at this area. But tomorrow, since we have a P as in Paul shaped profile, we start breaking below value area high. I want to target the point of control. I want to target value area low. And then I want to target the lower third of the range down here, roughly towards this candle body at about 513.44. But note, if we stay above value area high, then we want to turn our attention back up here towards the structural breakdown point we had yesterday, somewhere around 529.07. Then as we come over, we start looking at the NASDAQ futures. Notice out here on the 4-hour chart, if we were to pull a fib from last week's low up here to the high last week, notice we basically came right down to the 786, wicked it, and now we came screaming on the way back up. Now, if we go ahead and we pull a fib from the swing high down here to the swing low, Notice we're almost at the 61.8 Fibonacci level. We've already taken out value area low. We've already hit the point of control. Now the question is, can we get all the way above value area high? Because if we start getting above value area high and then we turn back down, then we could have a potential rotation right back down as well. Also, we have high volume up here on the composite profile. So again, that's going to act as a magnet as well, along with the 78.6 Fibonacci retracement level. Now, as we dive down and start looking at the daily profiles, we can see out here for the NASDAQ futures, we have essentially came right back up, filling the gap that we had down from last night. We've had a 629 point range today. Massive, massive ranges out here. Now, notice we're also closing above value area high tonight at about 21,517 and a half. We have the point of control down here at about 21,426.50. Then we have value area low at 21,209.50. Also, notice how thin the volume profile is up in this area. If we start breaking back below value area high, I want to target the point of control. I want to target within this zone right here. Then I want to go ahead and turn my attention all the way down here towards value area low. Now, if you guys want to learn why I think Take Profit Trader is one of the easiest prop firms to pass the evaluation, make sure to watch this video right here.